Dunkey Castle. Come on down to Dunkey's Castle. We got all new stuff. We got the Dunkey pin. Voila. We got the Dunkey coffee mug that comes with the bonus stickers. We're bringing back the Dunkey keychain featuring Bubba Duckey. And for the first time ever, the big Dunkey t-shirt. So remember, back to come down to fucking Dunkey's Castle. I'll eat 'em. When I was a kid, our computer was an eMac, and what's messed up about that is whenever I would go to Target with my mom, they would have all these computer games when you walked in: Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Fallout, Morrowind, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Far Cry. None of those games worked for iMac. The kind of games you had on MacOS was like Zoombinis, Spy Fox, Freddy Fish, The Sims, Math Blaster. There was no killing, there was no big headshots. But then one day we're in the Apple store, and I see this big green orc face on a box art, and I went, oh yeah, now this is a good game. Warcraft 3, this was my shit. Not for the actual game of Warcraft 3, keep in mind, I don't think anybody actually played that. No, the real game of Warcraft 3 was the custom maps. Using the map editor, players could essentially create entire games inside of Warcraft 3 for you to download and play with other people online. One of the most popular modes, Dota, went on to spawn an entire genre of standalone games, and one day, you know, I'm sitting there playing the Hobbit MOBA, and I'm getting a pentakill on Smeagol, and I wonder, how come none of those other Warcraft modes ever caught on like this? You had Footman Frenzy, where you could play as Jar Jar Binks and electrocute people. You had Run Kitty Run, which was like a cooperative platformer where you have to risk your life to revive your teammates, and it kept playing one Nickelback song on repeat the entire time. Tower Defense Wars, you would send waves of enemies to your opponents, which generated income while at the same time building towers to defend your base, and you would construct all these elaborate mazes they would have to run through. But then you start spawning attacking units which could poke holes in the maze. All these great modes that weren't Dota just fell by the wayside until Auto Chess, which ironically started out as a custom mode for Dota 2. I can't tell you what video games will be popular. I can only tell you what games should be popular. The Battle Royale craze was born in a similar way. It started out as a mod for Arma 2. Then you had these really rough standalone games, and then the big studios come in and get all the money. For me, the entire point of those Battle Royale games was the proximity voice chat.
No, motherfucker, I subscribe with 2 accounts. No, I make 2 more money.
Get up!
For you.
I got the beat.
Kill him!
Did he find me?
You're gay! You're gay!
What?
You're gay!
Once they got rid of that and sanitized everything, the magic was completely gone. Now, Auto Chess, this I can get into. Dota Underwatch is the latest game from Valve, who, for the younger viewers out there, Valve is a company that used to make video games. The idea is that you build a small army of units and go up against 7 other players in a series of 1v1 rounds. All you have to do is pick the guys you want and they fight each other automatically. It's largely a strategic balancing act of trying to stay alive without spending too much money. For every 10 gold you have, you get 1 bonus income. But if you start losing your fights too hard, you'll run out of health and lose. Like those Warcraft 3 custom maps, Auto Chess is far more approachable than a traditional RTS where you're micromanaging all this crazy bullshit.
Right click, we click R, click on the medevac, and we'll start dropping all the units down, down, up, down, 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 down. I prefer to flick down from the top left to the bottom right.
Auto Chess is very stripped down, very simple, but still able to retain a good amount of depth and variation. Since there are so many other players, the trick is to build a well-rounded team that isn't heavily countered by a specific class. There's also an element of chance. Every turn you'll get 5 random characters to pick from. If you don't like the ones you got, you can spend money to re-roll for new ones. A lot of the fun stems from experimenting with different team compositions, you know, seeing which units complement each other and seeing how risky you can play without getting punished for it. So you have a Dota Auto Chess, but there's also a League of Legends Auto Chess. Now, since I quit that game, articles started surfacing about Riot mistreating its employees. You got the developers walking out and filing lawsuits against Riot for sexual harassment. The place has devolved into a total shit show over there. But somehow, against all odds, they finally fixed League of Legends by turning went into a completely different video game. Teamfight Tactics is pretty much the exact same thing as Dota Undertale, except with Duck Duck Goose and a dabbing penguin. One thing I did notice about the League version is that we had to wait 80 minutes to get into a match. Meanwhile, Twitch streamers apparently had access to a super secret streamer queue where you actually got to play the game when you wanted to. It reminded me of a classic quote from Riot Light. I'm sure they'll fix the queue times, they just weren't used to, people actually playing League. I think the absolute highest compliment I can give to auto chess is that it is such a fun concept that even Riot couldn't fuck it up. I mean, that's pretty good.